these are our pieces. I have 2 side pieces to the gusset and also the base, a front and a back piece. You can see that it's slightly curling on the corners, but don't worry, that will disappear when we sew it together. A front pocket, an inside pocket. This is totally optional. You don't have to make one if you don't want one. And some straps that you can still see that I'm working on because my yarn is still attached. I have my strap and it isn't finished yet, but what I'm going to do, I've got it quite long and I've still got my yarn attached to, that's the beginning, still got my yarn attached to the end because I'm going to construct the rest of the bag. Then I'm going to see how these fit, and you can make these as long or as short as you want, of course. I'm not sure how long I want to make them, so I'm going to leave this attached, construct the rest of the bag, and then see how big I need to make them. On the top of the inside pocket, I have done a reverse single crochet. This is the right side, so this is the side that you'll see facing you, and then that's the back. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I've only done it on my inside pocket, but you could definitely do it to the top of all of the pieces of crochet. I'm just going to show you on my strap here because I haven't actually finished this off and my yarn is still attached. I haven't actually finished my strap, so. So the piece of work that you're going to have, you're going to come to the end of the row, and normally we would do our chain and turn or turn and do our chain, but the reverse single crochet is exactly what it is. It's a single crochet in reverse, so you're going to work back across the work. You're not going to turn, you're going to work back across. And you're going to do the single crochet stitch. This stitch can take a little bit of getting used to because for a start you're going backwards. If you haven't done it before, practice it on a scrap piece of yarn or something else, or do it here and then redo it a few times before you get the hang of it. So we're going to go into the previous stitch, which is here, and we're just going to pull it across, and you won't be able to see what I'm doing because it'll cover it up, but you're going into that stitch there. So go into there, pull up a loop, and then yarn over and then pull through 2. So what you would normally do for a single crochet, it's just you're working it into a different stitch. So go into the next stitch, which is there, go in with your crochet hook. Just need to put that yarn at the top there, pull through, and then pull through 2. And as you go, it's going to make like a rope. It looks like a rope sort of on the top. So again, into the previous stitch. Yep. Oh, come on, in there. And then pull up a loop and pull through 2. You can see it's starting to make that ropey looking stitch there. I don't think that should be there, so I would actually pull that out and do that again if I was going to keep that there. Yeah, so that doesn't look right. It should look like that. This is a piece that I did before. That's blowing out on the camera. This is actually like a fluoro green. On my camera it looks like a lime green. So it's got like this rope going over. It looks really cool, especially with these 2 strands of yarn. I'll show you the back. So that looks cool too. You could have either side showing, wouldn't really matter. This is going to be an inside pocket, so you will see both sides anyway. So like I said, you can work that on all your pieces. You wouldn't really do it on the handles because this will be hidden, but you can add it to any of the other pieces. Like I said, I've just done it to my inside pocket, but you could add it to your outside pockets and the sides of your bag. I'm going to be adding something to the front pocket of mine. So that's the dark blue section. So I'm not going to do the reverse single crochet on the outside pocket. Now we are going to assemble our bag, and we want to find the first row that we did, which is down the bottom here. And we want the tails on the left hand side, on the right hand side. And this is the wrong side of the work facing us. This is the right side, so you want the right side facing the table. So your tails will be on your right hand side. If you're left-handed, they will be on the left hand side. We want to get our inside pocket, and we want the right side facing up, That means our tails need to be on the left-hand side if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, they're going to be on the right-hand side. So this is my tails, so that's going on there, because this one has my reverse single crochet on the top, and I want that facing out, and this is a pocket, so that's going to be the outside. So this is the right side facing up. Then we want to grab one of our side pieces. So this is one of our short pieces, which for me is 10 single crochets across and 29 rows long. And we're going to find the very first row that we did, which is down here. And we are going to put that right side facing up. So my yarn tails are on my left-hand side, and we're going to have those right side facing up. So this you can put it over here like that, or you could put it over here like that. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to pop it there. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew through all these layers to join the side of our bag. You can crochet this if you want. Personally, I think it might be a little bit difficult to crochet because there are a couple of layers. Plus, it's going to be really hard for me to show you how to do that. So I'm just going to stitch it together. You want to get the colour that you've used for the outside and the sides of your bag. So for me, it is that light blue colour. You're going to need, I don't know, maybe 3 times that length of yarn easily, I would say. You can use 1 strand, but I'm going to use 2. I'm going to go 4 lengths. Grabbing your yarn needle. This is where the large eye on the yarn needle comes in handy. I'm going to flip this over because I need to start this end and go the other way. So we're lining up all of our edges. This stitch marker was just to remind me what the right side was. And we're going to go through all the layers. So we want to go through the corner stitch, or the corner of the bottom layer, the corner of the middle layer, and then also the top layer. I'm hoping this is going to work. And then go to the next stitch. I think it's going to leave this really cool green stripe, but I'm not sure. Okay, maybe not. Alright, I'm actually going to tie these two together here because that will secure that in there. Go in the next stitch. I'm just sort of going by these threads on the side here. I'm going through those. Okay, the green bit disappears. Well, that's okay. I thought it was going to leave that there, but it's not. And we're going to do this all the way along. Eventually, when we finished sewing where what is it? That's the inside pocket. When we finish sewing here, obviously it's going to disappear, but we're going to still stitch all the way to the end. So work your way across and I'll meet you when we're ready for the next step. When we get to the end, I've got some yarn tails, so I'm just going to tie that off. These are yarn tails from the other piece of crochet. And then you can sew in your ends. I'm just looking at my yarn that I cut to sew up. 3 lengths across would have been enough. I did 4, so you could definitely do 3. So we're just going to sew in our ends. Do this as you go so you don't have to do it at the end. This little bit here, get out. So just go along for a couple of inches. Well, I've done more than a couple of inches. I've done about 4 inches. And then find your scissors. I really need to go and find those scissors. And snip off your ends. So now we have a piece of work that has a front or a back, an inside pocket, and a side. So now we want to get the other side. We want to find the right side. I don't know why mine's such a weird shape at the bottom. Must have done my thing too tight, but she'll be right when it's sewn together. So now we want to get the side. So this is our short piece that we had, and we are going to lay this on top. And we're just going to repeat what we did for the other end. So I'm going to do 3 lengths of yarn and see if that works out well. So 1, 2, 3. Grab our yarn needle. I don't even know this trick. I got taught this trick ages ago, like years and years ago. You just grab your yarn, you lay it over your needle, and you fold it down just so it's laying over your needle like that. And you just pull tight and pinch at the top of the needle. So I'm just pinching there. So that little bit of yarn on there is tight. This will work with 1 or 2 strands. Pull it out and then sort of wiggle your needle, and I'm gradually pushing up the yarn as I can see it coming through that eye. And it works really well. You probably already know how to do that, but I just thought I'd share just in case you didn't. So we're going to do exactly the same as what we did on the other end. So I won't need to show you this again because that would just make this tutorial 11 billion hours long. So sew this up the same as what we did on the other end. Now it's time to add the base of the bag, and we have the inside pocket, and this is one of the sides, so that goes up like that. And then this is the base, and then we've got our other side over here. And we want to sew our base, and we want to grab our base that we've got here, figure out where the first row is. Yep, this is my first row. And we want to have the right side facing us. So our yarn tails are going to be on the left hand side if you're right-handed, and if you're left-handed they're going to be on the right hand side, so they'll be over here. So this is our right side. If you want, place a stitch mark on there. I'm going to do it now because I might be fluffing around and forget where the right side is. So we want to turn it so the long edge is lining up with the long edge of the bottom of the bag, and we're going to sew the base of the bag, which is this piece, to the side of the bag, which is this piece, and also we're going to sew it to the bottom of the main section of the bag. We're going to do it all in one go. It's not as hard as it sounds, because we have to sew up this seam here and that seam there anyway, so why not do it in one go, and then we'll have less yarn tails like all these little tiny pieces everywhere that drive me bonkers. So we're going to get the short edge of the side of the bag, and we're going to sew it to the short edge of the base of the bag. If I get these yarn tails out of the way, it might be less confusing. So long edge of the base and the long edge of the bag is matching up. Short edge of here, which is the base, and short edge of the side. We're going to join it up here with our yarn, and we're going to stitch down this seam, and then we're going to work our way along the base of the bag and go all the way across, stitching all the way. Look at all these yarn ends, crazy. And I'm just thinking you might be able to stitch over those as you go. Try that. Who wants to sew in all those ends? Not me. So after you stitched across, you're going to come here and you're going to get the short edge of the base of the bag and the short edge of the side of the bag, and they will join up at the top there, and you're going to stitch up like that. And I'll see you when we're ready for the next section. This is what mine looks like. I've turned around this way so you can see it. Looks so cool. So here's mine so far. You have the sides of the bag, which are here and here, and this is the base, and that's now all attached around there. This is my pocket, so I'm loving it with my reversed single crochet. Love how that looks. So we're ready for the next section. We want to take the other frontal back of our bag, and we are going to lay that down, and we want to have it your right side facing up, and your tails will be on the left hand side, not the right. I have made an error. We're going to grab our pocket. This is my front pocket, and this is right side facing up, so right side facing so you can see it, and our yarn tails will be on the left hand side if we're right handed, and they will be on the right hand side if you are left handed. These stitch markers were just to remind me, I think I told you before, just to remind me what the right side was. So we want to attach the outside pocket to our frontal back, but at the same time, this is going to be crochet gymnastics, everyone. You ready? At the same time, we are also going to join it to the base of our bag and the sides of our bag. Inside of our bag, this is our inside pocket and the base. That's just going to lay on the table like that. We're going to grab our outside pocket and our frontal back, which is that bigger piece there, and it's just going to lay on top like a sandwich. And what we're going to do is, this is the side of our bag, so this is the long edge of the side of your bag. We're going to stitch that. This is the frontal back panel of the bag. I'm going to stitch that. And also, if I go to the corner, it'll be easier. So we've got the outside gusset, this is the side, we've got the frontal back of the bag, which is there, and then also our outside pocket, and we're going to line all of these up in that corner. And I actually used the stitch marker before just to go through all the layers. It only just fitted. Just to hold it all in place. So you're matching up the corners there. And then you've got to kind of shift it into place with this part. Make sure your ends line up, and then make sure that's all like a big sandwich. Find another stitch marker. And then put that through all the layers. That's totally optional, obviously, but I find that I start stitching on this, on the end of something, and by the time I get to the other end, it's all wonky. We have the base of our bag. This one here is the front or the back of the bag, and then this one is our outside pocket, which I think will be the front of my bag. I think my pocket will go on the outside. And again, we're just lining that up. I think I'm out of stitch markers. Got these ones. They may work, they may be a bit small. So we're just lining that up. I'm going to line up my corners first. Get rid of that one. So this is where the base and the side seam is. We're going to line it up to there and line that up there. I'm just going to go back from the corner. Ouch! That is sharp. Get in there. Is it going to fit? Just. And I'm going to just do one in the middle as well. That is a lot of fabric to sew through, but mine worked really well. It kind of shrinks as you sew through it. Oh look, matchy matchy. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. This is the side of my bag, the front or back piece. This will be my front because my pocket's going to go on the front. And line up the corner. Oh, this bit's the hardest part. Okay, so line that up. What colour are you making yours? It was so hard for me to pick colours. I think it was Instagram. I think it was also YouTube. Could have also been Facebook. And you guys were helping me choose colours because I was totally stuck. And these are the colours that most of the people chose. Well, I already had these two colours here that you can see, but I needed a contrast colour. And the contrast colours were my green, my bright green, and the bright orange, and it was almost a tie. So I thought, let's use both. Alright, so that looks completely ridiculous, but that's where we're going to sew all of our pieces. So we're going to sew like we did on the other piece when we used the back piece and then we sewed in the pocket and everything. We're just going to sew from this end, so this is the top of the bag, so all the way down through your pocket, through your both pieces there as well. Again, along the bottom. This probably would be easier if this was on my lap, but it's not. So sew along the bottom there, and then when we get to the other side, we're going to come up. What is this? Go away. And come up and do that side bit. I cannot get that to sit. There we go. And crochet up that side part, and then you'll finish at the top of the bag on the other side. I need to sew those ends in still, but that's okay. The main part of our bag is complete. We just need to do the handles. So cool. So do that now, and then I will see when we're ready for the next part.